tutorials. This week we're going to be doing a text effect tutorial. It's actually a pretty awesome text effect tutorial. And it's rather long, so to shorten it like I've done in the past, I already did the tutorial, and I'm going to show you layer by layer and step by step how I did it. Just so that I shorten the video a bit. It's not going to be shortened too much because but yeah, just so that you're not bored to tears, I'm going to do it the best way possible with the less time. Alright, let's get started. So first I made a canvas of large size. I'm using, I believe, 800 by 600, something like that. Oh well. Anyways, it's a large size canvas, that's all I know. So, I made it black, by the way, if you didn't notice, but I'm sure you noticed by now. I immediately went up here and I added some text. I just typed in Jazz, just because that's cool. And the font that I use is called Val. Now I'm going to provide this for you in the description below because it is going to work well with this tutorial. Other fonts may not work as well, but you could try it and see what happens. But for this tutorial, I recommend using this font here. Alright, and I double clicked and I added a couple of things here. I added an inner shadow with soft light with black for the color. 120 for the angle. I used global light. 3024 for the distance, choke, and size. And then after that, I went and added a stroke. And I used white. And the reason being for this is that it's going to show the effect more than it would if we didn't add the style. So, yeah, size is 1, positions outside, blend to normal, and 100% opacity. Alright, click OK, you're good to go. Now, what I've done is now, on top of each additional layer that I have created here, I've added some color. So go ahead and create a new layer above that, and you're going to select a pink hue like such. Now, you're probably wondering how I got my pink color right there. Well, as you clearly notice, we have what looks like a return key arrow pointing down towards the text layer. Now what that is a clipping mask. Clipping mask basically clips a portion of the layer you're using and turns it into the layer below. Now, what you'll now notice is you will see the white stroke we added, the 1px stroke. You can now see it coming through that next layer, which gives it that more of a look. So, after you've added a pink hue to that layer, and it doesn't matter what color you use, any pink color is fine, it's all preference here. You're going to again add another layer, and this one you're going to add, what did we add there? We added another touch of a color, and I didn't add too much to this layer. Oops. What? Oh. Alright, well, it's an empty layer. I don't know why, but I added an empty layer. Oops. Okay. I just realized I added an empty layer. Anyway, so that's an empty layer, but it's still masked below. Because you might need that layer, you never know. But anyway. Then, above that, we added a second layer. And this one here, I used a blue tone. A blue aqua color. And I just used a soft round brush. If you haven't already noticed, we're using a soft round brush of 100, I used 100 px size. Anyway, whatever size works for your photo. And I just did the blue over here with a J, only because that's kind of looks good to me, but whatever. And then again, I added a clipping mask to that layer because we did it before, and that's what you want it. You want your colors on top of the text, but not on the actual image. Why is that still in it? Okay, and then we added another layer, and we added another pink hue color, and this pink is a little bit darker than the one before. It's more fuchsia-like, I think. And that one again, we added a clipping mask, and if you want to know how to do that, you can go ahead and hold your Alt key and click on the layer, and you will notice a paint can-like image will appear. And when you click that, that will enable you to have a clipping mask on that layer. Alright? Okay, you with me so far? I feel like you may not be with me, but if you are, awesome. Alright, and I grouped that, by the way, if you didn't notice, as you see in group 1, that's all of the colors. So we grouped the colors and the text into one layer. Alright, and then what I did above that, what's that layer? That's an empty layer too? Awesome. Okay, then above that we added something like this. We added some stars. Now, this I just created with the brush tool. Just take a brush and take a small, like 1px brush or something, and then go over here to your brush selection here, and oops, well, it's not here anymore. The settings aren't really here, but what you'll do is you'll add scattering and color dynamics and smoothing and protection texture, and you'll just have it so it scatters, and essentially what you'll get is when you do that with a small 2px brush is you'll get little dots like such. Or if you want to be a cool kid and download some star brushes, you can do that as well. But I did it the easiest way possible and just used a 2px brush and created scattering stars myself. But as always, you are free to use a brush. Alright, I'm going to make that visible just in the event that we need it. Alright, and then above that, I then added some more color. And this is another layer. And this one here, you can't really see it that well yet, but you'll see it eventually. It covers the stars. It's giving the stars the colors that we used before. So you use a pink, blue, and purplish magenta color, and go ahead and make that all the way over. And then once you do that, you're gonna send that to linear light. All right. Yeah, linear light. And all the rest of the layers are the same. Okay. Yeah. What am I doing? Okay, sorry. I just want to see why that layer was that layer. What the heck is on layer 11 that I made? I don't even know. See, I did this tutorial like 5 minutes ago, and I don't even remember what I did. Okay, anyway, moving on. So this is another layer I made. And this one I did the same thing as I did on the previous layer. I added more color. So I took a soft round brush, and I brushed on some pink, blue, and purple. And then what I did is I went and added a mask layer, which is this square with a circle in it, right there. I added a mask layer, and then with the mask layer selected, I went up here to filter, and I then go to render, and I added clouds. Make sure that black and white are in your swatches when you do the clouds, because that will then give you the effect you see right here below. And essentially we're making a night sky now. So that's where that comes in. Alright, now above here, you're going to see that I have 3 layers of text. Now how do I get my text like such without going ahead and creating a blob of color and text? Well, here's what you do. Go into your group layer, select all of the layers you have in there. Go ahead and merge them. Alright, I'm not going to do this yet. I'm not going to do this because it'll screw up what we're doing, but for your sake, go ahead and merge the group 1 together. Do a Command or Control A and a Control X or Command X. You're going to copy that, and you're going to paste that into a new layer. Alright, or what you can do, alright, I don't know why I just, yeah, alright, and then you're going to paste that above there, above all of the rest you have, and put it there, alright, and that's going to be a copy. Then you'll go back and you'll do, and then once you have it copied, you're going to then go to edit and step backwards so that you can see your group again. Does that sound kind of confusing? Yes? Alright, let me re-explain that so it sounds easy to do. You're just going to copy the text that you've merged, and then after you've copied it, go to edit and step backward so that way your group is showing like such, and you're not still with the merged layer. Then after you've done the step backwards, you can then paste that as a new layer, and it will be pasted as a new layer, and you have everything like we have here. Okay, does that make sense? That makes sense now? It should. Okay, if not, sorry, but that's how you have to do it, because otherwise you'll get in a amalgamated mess, and you don't want to be in a mess. Okay, so you pasted that layer, correct? Alright, now you're going to see here that mine's a little distorted, and I will explain to you why. Because I am a cool kid, and I went up here to filter, and I added a blur. I added a I added a Gaussian blur. And then I went over here to my fill, and I put it at 70%. Because if you put it at 100%, you can't see the rest of the text. So therefore, 70% looks good. Alright? Do you follow me so far? Alright. Once you've done that, you're going to again go ahead and paste that layer. Again, paste your text layer that you've merged, and you can do a Control V, and you can still paste it. It'll be cool. And make sure it's on top of everything and they're all like kind of lined up correctly, and not like one way over there on the left, one on the right. Alright? Go ahead and paste that layer. And that one's going to brighten everything. And you're going to kind of not see the copy of the other layer before. It'll be a little disappeared sort of kind of, but it still looks kind of cool. Alright, so on the next layer, you're going to make that a clipping mask. And as I said before, all you got to do is hold down your Alt key and click on the layer until you see the paint. When you see the paint can, click the layer, and boom, you got a clip mask. Alright? Alright, moving along. Again, for the third time, I added another layer. And this one here, I also blurred it a bit. I didn't blur it too much, but I blurred it enough so you can see it. Alrighty. And again, we changed the fill down to 44% because 70% wasn't good enough because it was still kind of showing. So I did 44% for this layer because that made it look awesome. So yeah, but you can play around and see what looks good to you. Alright. And then last but not least, we have another layer of the same text. I pasted again. And this one here is a clipping mask. But I also changed that layer to overlay because I wanted to give it that darkened photo finish. So if we have it at normal, you'll notice how it's kind of eh. But when you go to overlay, it brings out the pink color over here a little bit more than it did before. And I changed the opacity down to 62% because I felt like 100% was too much brightness, so I lowered it a bit. And again, play around with it and see what looks good for you. Alright, moving along. I then went over here to levels, and I changed the levels just a tad bit, like such. And I did that only because I wanted to darken that layer. I wanted to darken the layers below it a bit more than they already were. I know I just said we shouldn't darken that layer, but I did above it, so it looks kind of interesting and gives it more of a spacey text-like effect. So you've seen that. So go back to your layers. And this one here, as you can clearly see, is a clipping mask. And over here, I added a mask layer to this, and I just kind of erased a little bit over here with the soft round brush. I didn't erase too much, but I erased enough where you could at least give it that overall look of space-like. So, yeah. Alrighty, let's move along. Now is where we come into our shapes. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why are we using shapes? Well, I added some shapes to this because I wanted to give it a real spacey effect, and I felt like adding elliptical circles inside the text. Like you'll see right here, I have a little circle inside. I felt like that was a really cool thing to do, so I did that. And how I did that is I used the white. I'm going to disable this so I can show you guys. I added a white circle right in the dead center, and then I went ahead and masked it into it. enable mask layer. And I added a mask layer to this, and I erased part of it so that it only goes inside. So you can see that the circle is inside, and I changed the color to overlay, and the fill is at 44%. And I just want to make it overlay and overlay in the fill 44% because I want to show enough of the circle to see it, but not too much to overpower the actual text. So, yeah. And again, I masked it out only because I want the circle inside the text and not anywhere else but inside the text. But if you didn't do that, it would be all over the place and it wouldn't look good. And you're probably asking yourself, well, how come I can't just go ahead and mask out the text layer with the circle? That way it'll be inside. Right. In other tutorials that would work, but for this one it won't really because we've done so many layers with the text that it's just going to confuse yourself and myself. So easiest way to do this tutorial is just to go ahead and erase the whole circle but show enough so it looks like it's inside. Alright, are you with me so far? Alright, we're getting there. And again, I added more circles all over the place. Just go ahead and add a bunch, and again, mask out the circles so that it fades into your photo. And overlay is going to be for all of your circle layers, but your fill will be different for each layer. And you can play around with the fill however you want. I chose for the second layer 50%, and so on and so forth. But by all means, go ahead and play around with the circles however you want them. And I added a bunch of these circle layers. I went all out. And then you can mask it out however you want. Okay, so that's my circle layers as you see. You will see a bunch if you hear. And don't go too crazy with the circles. Add maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5, but don't go too crazy because you don't want to make it too overpowering. Alright, so then we go over here. And now what you see on my layer 9 is you see I've added some cool little stars. And you'll notice because they're under the text. And why they're under the text is because I've overlaid the layer. If it's in normal, you'll notice how it's above it. So that's normal. And now when you overlay it, they're inside the text and it looks better. So that's the star brush. Now you can go ahead and download star brushes from the internet. Do whatever you want. I just happen to have some star brushes on hand. I'll provide those in the description below in case you want to use them. But honestly, go ahead and find your own. Totally cool. Doesn't really matter. But if you want to use ones I have, I'll give you a link in the description below to download. But no need to use those. Alright, and then again, I added some more. I added a copy of layer 9. I just duplicated it and put it on top because I felt like it was gonna be it would be better that way. And this one I changed to lighter color instead of overlay because I felt like it overshowed. I wanted to show more of the stars now than before. Alright, here we go. Layer 10 is another layer of the previous layer. A little more bright. This one's soft light, and the fill is at 85% because if you're at 100% with this, that's when it gets a bit much. I know it looks like a bit much right now, but don't worry, we're going to make it so it's not in a few moments, I swear. Okay. Alright, are you guys with me still? Or are you lost? If you're completely lost, I am very sorry. But I'm really trying to make this video as short as possible, but short and sweet and to the point, and not too exaggerating. Because if I had done this, you know, step by step by step by step, you'd be here over an hour probably. So, again, I'm trying to make these videos as short as possible, but as awesome and helpful to you as possible. Same time. Alright. I added a curves layer above all of those, and I brightened it a lot because you want to see the space-like effect, like whoosh. So, this is the curve I have here. You can go ahead and try your hardest to recreate that, but you can certainly use your own output and inputs. Just, you know, make it as close to this figure as possible, but not exactly like mine. Alrighty. Then we're going to go ahead and add some more of these lovely stars. I added one right there, as you just saw me open. And then we added another group. And in this group, you will notice here, as you see it moving, that I've made some cool little slashes. Now, in a previous tutorial, I gave you the slashes as a download, but for this one I won't, because I want to show you what I did. Basically, all I did was I went over here to my, elliptical marquee tool, and I made some cool, like, squares, and I just, filled them with a color, and I kind of masked out part of it, and voila, you got little lines in the corner. Alrighty, and there we go. So, and I made the layer, I used white for the color if you didn't notice already, and I chose Vivid Light for the effect there, and the same thing with layer 17. Layer 17 is just the color. It's just the color. Because look here. You can clearly see where I made the little, the box. I actually had to curve it. And in case you're wondering how do you curve that, all you do is do Control T and you rotate it so that it's facing this way. And then you go ahead and erase just part of what you don't want to see. And then you get your cornered piece. And then when you make the next layer visible, it's masked out a bit, erased a bit, and I add some color, and I changed that layer to Vivid Light as well. Okay, so you know how I did that now, and you'll see that I masked out on the group layer, and that's how I got the small little corner shapes. And I did that for a bunch of different areas. So I did that about 3, 5, 6, 7. I did a good few. So go ahead and do the same thing for basically every side, every angle, wherever you want to place them. I did a lot of them actually because I wanted to create them and make them look pretty awesome. And yeah. Alright, so now we're here on this lovely layer. And this lovely layer, 18, is again another stars layer. And again, I chose overlay for the color because I really wanted to showcase these stars. I want them to pop. I want them to be whoa. Okay? Alright, then we go up here to layer 19. And I've now dimmed it. It goes from being really bright pink to being kind of alright? And what I did here is I chose a white, no, not white, yellow and blue, and I used a soft round brush of large size, and I painted over the whole thing, not the whole image, but just, the whole kind of text area, and I changed that to saturation. I'll show you. If I do, if I do normal, this is what I did. So you have one yellow blob and a blue blob, and then you go ahead and go to saturation, and it then kind of dims the whole photo. Alright? So that's where we're at right now. Let's continue. And hopefully you're not confused. If you are confused, I am terribly sorry. And again, I will let you know, I'm trying to make this video not as long, because I know how bored people get when they watch a 45-minute video. This may in fact be 45 minutes. I'm not keeping a track of the time, so I'm sorry if I'm wasting your time or if I'm boring you to death, but hey, some tutorials do take long. Not every tutorial can be like rocket science. It'd be like 5 minutes tops. Just letting you know, there actually are some tutorials out there that are over 2.5 hours long. And I would never even remotely even think to even show you how to do those, because that would take up way too much time. They're awesome and they're great, but they take up a lot of time. Okay, so back to this tutorial. I had another curves layer. And I did just a wee bit, not too much. I didn't go too hog wild, but I wanted to, again, go here and add some more. So try and look at this here and create that image as you see. Doesn't have to be exact, but, you know, close enough is good. And boom. We brightened it a bit more. And then I went ahead and added another shape layer. And in case you're wondering what shape layer I added, it was another circle. I felt like another circle right over there was good, so I did that. But you don't have to, I just did it because I wanted to. Alright, and then here we go. Ooh, more circles. More circles. Yes, that was another circle. Okay, then on the last layer, and I swear this is the last layer of all of them. All of the last layers. It's done. We're done. We're done. It's done. Alright, guys. So on our last layer, what we're going to do is you're going to paste on a texture that I will show you. It is going to be these lines. Yep. And when you zoom in a bit, you will notice they're just white, like computer lines. So with that, let's just zoom out a bit. Now, when you zoom out, it looks like it's a gray layer. It's not. So go ahead and change. They really do make a big difference. They really impact the tutorial and make it look pretty cool. Change that to soft light and change your fill down to 66%. And voila! When you zoom in, you will see the lines. Oh, the lines! And they really do make a big difference. They really impact the tutorial and make it look pretty cool. So that's the tutorial. I know it looks pretty weird, may not be as cool as you thought it was going to be, but I thought it was pretty awesome, so I figured I'd share that with you guys. I'm sorry if I wasted your time. I am terribly sorry if this video is longer than a half an hour. It shouldn't be, but it probably is. So if you stuck around till the end, thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you didn't, well, your loss, not mine. So if this was helpful, you can subscribe. It was very, very, very helpful. You are also free to like. If you want to comment and leave some feedback, or if you have some suggestions, comment as well. If you want to show me what you made, you're welcome to make a video response showing me what you made. If you don't want to, that's cool too. But yeah, that's the tutorial. I really hope this was helpful. If it was not, I apologize, but I'm just trying to help some people out. Some people I help out, and some people I don't. You can't please everyone in America. Just the way it goes. So thank you for watching, and subscribe, comment, and like, and I will see you in the next video tutorial. Later!